Hello, my lovelies. Well, I see my lovely moderators are in the chat. Cindy, Kelsey, Gillies, all there. Oh, thank you, ladies. Don't know it's going to be a quiet one today because I've noticed on other lives they're not getting the numbers that they usually do. So there must be something going on. But we'll still go ahead with our gossip of the day and our quiz. I've got my quiz already for those who like the little quiz questions. So how's everyone doing? Are you, Kelsey? And I will be putting the link out there if anyone wants to join in. Yeah, they sit with the sun when people start going in the sun, don't they? And they don't. I don't blame them actually because it's a rare event in England, isn't it? Anyway, to see these, and I can't remember what they're called. This necklace here, got this a few years back. This is actually the storm necklace, and I wear it in the summer now and again. And it's supposed to ward off summer storms and things like that. Yeah, but I got these the other day off that, what was it? Temu, that Chinese thing that everyone's raving about. And I got these, and what they are, I don't know whether you can see that blue tint on them. They actually cut out the blue, or they stop the blue light on when you're looking at a monitor, computer monitor. But they let you see the full colours. It's good when they're meant to be videos because your age say that videos. And it's not doing your eyes much good staring at the screen. Hi, Trojan. Yeah, so let's get on with the goss, shall we? All the latest gossip. Well, it's all happening around Ellis, isn't it now? He's also coming back into being noticed on YouTube. And he's going on his little oh, Kelsey. I'm good. It's half term, so a busy week. Kids are never in school now. My eldest is in the middle of her GCSEs. Oh, good luck to her. But the kids, I can't remember having that many holidays when I was a kid. You had the summer holiday, which was dead long, but there seems to be loads of bank holidays now. I can't remember that. Oh, exams in school. Oh, nightmare. And I do reckon it's much harder now. I've always said that it's much harder than what it was in my day. Because back in the old days, if you had, they called them GCEs then, not the GCSEs, aren't they? But you got 5 GCEs, you were considered a genius. You got an A level, oh my God, you were Einstein. That's the way it was back then. But now, they're expected to have 10 or 15. And it's like, oh, this is getting ridiculous. And also, back then, going to university and having a degree was a big thing. Now it's a lot of the time, it won't put you any further in the queue in a job, which is horrific. And this is the worst thing of all. I remember students complaining, right, about the grants. Tell that to young people now. People used to get paid to go to university and they'd moan about the grant. I'd say that to a young person now who's getting into £20,000 debt or whatever it is. It's disgusting, it is. But yet, the value, in my mind, the value of degrees now is just not worth it. Not unless you're going into something that is highly specialised, very specialised, then it's worth it. But and you hear kids coming out with 2 masters. That was unheard of. I mean, a degree was good enough years ago. What does anyone think of that? Anyone out there that's as old as me? Do you remember that? People complaining about the thing about the grants to go to uni. And there wasn't many people went to uni back then. It was considered a posh thing. You went from school straight into work. That's basically what happened to most people. Or onto what was it called? YTS, Youth Training System, or whatever it was for unemployed youths. Well, with medical, you do need that, don't you? And legal jobs you need, but even the legal ones now. I mean, I studied law as part of my exams, but not any idea of becoming a solicitor or anything like that. And of course, I had to pick the difficult one, didn't I? Civil law. Civil law is much more difficult than criminal law, because civil law, there's a hell of a lot more involved in it. A hell of a lot more. I don't even know what a CPV is. What's that? £25 a week on YTS. Good God. It really was a slave thing. That, well, not slave, it was a... They used to use the kids, didn't they? Then dump them. There was hardly ever a job at the end of it. Certificate pre-vocational education. Oh, I get it. That even now the police officers, they want them. Or before you become a police officer, you've got to go to a policing college. Load of nonsense. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You know that the police actually stopped looking at. This is true. They stopped looking at people's degrees and their qualifications. Right? They wouldn't look at them because they said they were fed up of taking someone on who had a degree, and when they'd be doing the job, they couldn't do it. Yet people who had basic education were coming in and doing the job brilliantly. And what they worked out, to be a police officer, it's not what qualifications you've got that matters. It's what life skills you've got. If you can prove you've done this in your life, you've done that in your life, then that's what they go by. Because I tell you now, you can't learn it. And I learned that, and everyone that goes in, when you're in the training, we had to do training. A few weeks it was training we did. Or it might have been a couple of months, actually, when I think of it. Can't remember how long. It was long anyway. And you think you're all ready. You think, oh, great, got it now. I know all this. I know how to take statements. I know how to interview people. I know what to do if this happens. I know what to do if that happens. Then you're thrown out there. And straight away, when you get to your station, it's told, forget all that now. You're going to learn now how it's done. And it's literally a birth of fire. It's horrible. You just have to learn as you're going along, because the classroom just doesn't... I can't remember how long it was, Julie's. It was wasn't as long as a police officer. Police officers, their probation actually goes on for 2 years. A police officer, but it would be being a station keeper or an inquiry officer. You didn't have to learn all this. We had to learn how to personal protection and all that, because you could be attacked in the stations. But we weren't allowed to go outside the stations, and but they had to learn all that business of how to actually. They really had to learn about conflict resolution and all this business. They had to learn all that, which we didn't. But it was. You just got there, and even the police used to say, you learn it on. You don't. You have to learn on the beat. You've got to go on the beat, because if you don't, are you joking? If you don't go out on the beat, you're not going to learn it. That's the only way you can learn that job. You can't learn it in a classroom. There's no way, because people don't tend to. Anyone really, not just the police. If anyone's ever worked with the public, if you've worked in a shop or whatever, and you can't predict how the public's going to react. So a classroom will prepare you for that. And this mirroring thing, I remember this thing they used to go on about, which was a load of cack. And I said, that's a load of rubbish. So I said, that would inflame the situation. Mirroring. What you're supposed to do, which to me, if you're listening to someone, you're not going to be listening to them very hard if you're mirroring the way they move. You're supposed to mirror the way they phrase things and mirror the way they move. So if they're doing this, you start not making it obvious, but doing that and opening your arms and all this business when you're talking to them. And you try to, not mimicking the way they're talking, but also trying to get into the way they're talking. And I said, you start doing that. I said, someone's going to start thinking you're taking the mick out of them. And I said, they're going to get angry. But the best one this amused me, was when they started talking about Muslims. How you're supposed to approach a Muslim, especially a Muslim woman. Well, their idea of a Muslim woman was that a Muslim woman didn't exist without a husband. So she'd come into a station with a husband on an invisible lead, basically. That's the scenario that was talking about. And you couldn't look at her. You had to look at her husband and ask him the question. She couldn't, it was insulting to look at her. And I said, that's actually racist. I said, what you say? I said, I've worked with Muslim women. And I said, I can tell you now, they're quite capable of going about their life without a man. And I said, they don't need a man speaking up for them. I said, not the ones I met. And you know what? They told me, no, you can't do it. You've got to do it like this. You've got to do it like that. Anyway, it was funny. The first week I was actually deployed, and it was Admiral Street Police Station. A Muslim woman did come in. Now, apparently, they don't touch it. They don't look at it. Guess what? She didn't have her husband holding her on the chain. Strange enough, like I said, she wouldn't have that happening. And she actually went into the interview room with me on her own. And guess what she did? She shook my hand when it was all over. And I said, there we are. There's the proof. There's the point I was making proof. And I said, they're not, you've got a really skewed idea of what a Muslim woman acts like. And another one was gay men as well. Honest God, no wonder they get called bigots. Even when they're trying not to be bigots, they were called bigots. Apparently, gay men have their own language and all this. Yeah, maybe in the 50s when it was illegal and you had to talk in like a sort of secret code, but not nowadays. So absolutely amusing, the ideas they used to have. They really do have antiquated ideas, the police. So I bet it's lovely down in London, Jockney, isn't it? Because it's always hotter there. But again, when you get that summer bad style, or when we get the summer where it's really hot, it's unbearable in London. Totally unbearable. It's overcast in Yorkshire. It's nice in Liverpool. It started off, I thought it was going to rain. It starts off quite nice now. But anyway, mirroring, that's it, Kelsey. I think that's, someone's going to get it and stand like with your hands like that. I mean, if you're concentrating on all this nonsense, you're not listening to what the person's saying. And also, it looks false. People aren't stupid. They'll pick up what you're doing. But I used to always say, if you just treat a person, I mean, as they come into you, you get some would be horrible, like, and that'd be horrible back to them. Think stuff you. Talk to me like that, I'll talk to you back the same way. And it would usually calm them down when you did that. Yeah, talk about like going to the scandals. Yeah, we're talking about I got mislaid, you know what I mean. Oh, at my age, you get confused. You can't remember what word you're supposed to be using. It's tragic, darlings. It's tragic. Anyway, yeah, Paul Ellis is beckoned. This is the financial wizard, you know, who's giving everyone financial advice about house buying and cars and all this business. He just can't con anyone, can he, Paul Ellis? And now he's begging for petrol, so him and his mate, Mr. Pip payments. Yeah, those Pip payments will be able to pay for his holiday, I assure you. Want to go to Albania or somewhere, is it? Honest to God. Do you know what? And the sad thing is, there's idiots out there who will give that money over to. Why? Paying for someone to have a holiday. Why would you want to do that? Why on earth would you want to pay for someone else to have a holiday? That's just on YouTube. I used to always have this. I hope I don't insult anyone in the chat that's done this, but do you remember when they used to go around, or they still do, they're saying, oh, I'm doing a jump out of an airplane for charity, or I'm going to walk the Great Wall of China for charity, or I'd say, yeah, piss off, you pay for your own bleeding once in a lifetime experience. Don't expect me to pay for it. And for charity. No, it isn't. It's for you. That's what's for. You want a free bleeding holiday and all this, and a free exciting jump out of an airplane. I never used to, I wouldn't give it to anyone like that. I used to, can't get lost. I'd love to try jumping out of an airplane. doing it for charity. No, if you're doing it for charity, then what you do is you get all the donations for you to do it. And then instead of letting the charity pay for the event or take the money out of those donations to pay for that jump out of the airplane or that walk down the Great Wall of China, so you give them the money. Say, here we are, I'll pay for it, but I've also raised this lovely. Was that just me being horrible? Yeah, that's the point. I mean, that's the point. Why is he camping out all the time? He wouldn't. I'm sure the kids would be. Because me and Paul, like when we were talking, we were supposed to go camping. She was well up for going camping. Supposed to go to Scotland and go camping, and then just before, I got all the equipment. I'm lucky in this respect, right? Because I'd never go camping on my own. What? I'd be terrified. Absolutely, I couldn't do it. On my own. I'd have to have someone there that if I heard something or something happened, I could run screaming to them and ask them to protect me. So Paula would have been there, so that if any monsters came, she could protect me from the monsters. But I was supposed to go with her. I was supposed to go with Cookie, all set up, had the equipment and everything. Then, think of me and Paula fell out, and bleeding Cookie gets put in prison. I'm not lucky. I don't think this camping thing's, but I've got the tent, I've got the equipment, got bleeding everything, and never going to have a chance to bleed and use it. She thinks, oh, no way am I going on your own? No chance. A pretty young thing like me, a gorgeous young thing like me, all alone in the woods, and some hunky men come along and see me. What would ever happen to me? Oh yeah, I was just saying, joking about the I can't remember what they're called, but apparently they're supposed to ward off thunderstorms and things like that. Keswick. See, I've never. Do you know what? I've never ever gone on a camping trip. Never in my life. When I was a kid, I used to build little dens. Me and my mates, we'd be allowed to sleep overnight in the little dens we'd made. But I wouldn't call that camping. Never actually camped anyway. See, I think so. Oh, I'd like it, but then at the same time, I think, oh, then you've got to get up and it's all going to be cold, and oh no, that's what puts me off. But I was going to say, yeah, I want to. Oh God, I can't remember. That's where me and Cookie was supposed to go. There's a place somewhere, not far from where he is or was before he was in prison, Newcastle, and it's the darkest place in Britain, so that when you look up at the sky, you can see the Milky Way and all the stars clearly. That's where I wanted to go. I think you can, Johnny. You most probably can. But I was always the one who was always at hotels and that kind of stuff. But actually, no, I never actually had holidays. It was always working. I nearly said then holiday. It was always working. Never used to bleed get to see anyway. You'd get like an hour or so in between a break to maybe do a bit of shopping, and that was it. Then you'd be coming back home. Anyway, so yeah, he's getting this, doing this, trying to raise money for another trip. Pray for your own trip, you bleeding peasant. Anyway, so that's what's going on. And what else? Oh, Mr. Heggie is again making idiots out of his people who are following him and support, not so much followers as supporters, because again he's blatantly lying to them. I'm not coming back. I'm going out for a month. Then he's back on. He's doing this on purpose. When he's making that saying he's going away for a month, he's laughing to himself, thinking, "See how these mugs believe it." And I've done a video, but I have to wait for it to be cleared by YouTube, so it's waiting there. And actually discuss this and show how, if you look at his face, you can see he's actually manipulating his followers and finding it funny that they do. I mean, that big Tony is it? Oh, no, that's so embarrassing. That's so undignified for someone to blow smoke up someone else's ass like that. So undignified. And it's embarrassing. I don't know about anyone in the chat, No, someone comes up to you and they're all the time saying how wonderful you are, how brilliant you are, how perfect you are, how you're the best in the world, how you're the salt of the earth. That makes me not want to trust them. I always think, why are you doing this? Because I know I'm not all those things. I know it can be touchy. I know it can be difficult. I know it can be mouthy. And when people start that, oh, you're wonderful, you're lovely, and all this, it's like you're a bad judge of character because even I know I'm not like that. Oh, why you tea gone? Lovely to see you again, though. Lovely to see you again. I did miss you. T Gun always comes up with something that's um, really hits the nail on the head. She does, always does. Well, take this e-bikes. This is what I say though. People want to be stupid, let them be stupid. You can't stop people being stupid. It's up to them. But I don't know why people want to give money to. If it's something really worthwhile, let's say yeah. But let's put it this way. At least he's not saying, "Give me money to go on holiday with some our fast friend." I mean, good God, good God. If anyone wants to come on, and then I'll do the quiz. Our wonderful quiz, and I've got some good questions. But a couple of them you, Julie's, one of them you, and Cindy about from answering because you know the answer to it. Well, do you know what? Why not? Why not say? Do you know? God, I learned a lot from my parents, especially my mammy. You know, my mammy used to always say she couldn't. I don't know. Shouldn't be saying this really because my mama's been dead a long, long time, or she's passed over. I should say. I don't really like the word dead. But she used to always go on. She couldn't stand sweet little old ladies. You know, when you get sweet, she just go, oh, I can't. She'd give me a bone and owl bag any day. She said that a sweet little old. For some reason, she didn't. And I grew up when it's they would say if they were trying to be sweet, old and sweet. And it's like, oh, you know, I picked that up with a real raunchy, go for it. Won't take any nonsense out of bed. That's what you want. That's what you want to see. That's it. Even out like that, I'd be totally embarrassed. Totally embarrassed. That's money. But that's the trend now. I'd ask for it if I knew it was going to something that was going to be productive. I mean, really productive. Or say that someone's got an animal and they can't afford the vet bills. Yeah, I can understand that. Or they've got something that they really need. Say that they want to be a crate and they just can't afford the equipment. Yeah, I can understand that. But not those. I mean, isn't he working? Else is working. And when you're on the PIP, the high grade of the PIP, you know, do you need it? Do you need it? You can go on your own bleeding all this. Could say about someone else that was on the high level PIP who was asking for money because he was seriously ill. And, he didn't need it because he was raking in, living on his own over 2,000. It was, I think it was 2.5 grand a month. A lot of working people would love to have that who've got kids. They'd love to have it. Oh, you want to see my phone, Johnny? You want to see mine? I was showing it to to Craig and Chrissy, and Video Craig has always got the latest phone. And I'm saying, look at this, I've got it's a few years old. As long as I can phone someone, but what it is when I'm out, going out and about, they try to contact me on Instagram or they try to contact me on WhatsApp. It's not going to work on this phone. They have to actually phone me, or they don't get the call. The only way I could ask people for money, and I used to do this, was when they'd ask me, to do theatre work or anything like that, I'd always say, and I'll tell you why I did that, Julie, is because in the theatre, oh, on Scott, you'd always get them going, oh, we're doing this theatre production, but we need help and all this business because it was for the community. And they'd always want you to help them. Well, I used to always say, and I used to give this advice to anyone that wanted to go into the theatre, I'd say, do you know what I'd say? If you do it for free, you'll never not be working if you do it for free, but also you'll be valued as nothing. That's when you do that. I said, put your hand up and say, give me money. Look, a lot of money was spent on my training. I trained for years from a 5-year-old child. A lot of money, a lot of dedication, like hell. Unless I really feel it's something that I want to work for, a charitable thing, will I go in there and then start giving classes or giving talks on ballet or anything like that? No way. No way, because I used to say, no, put your hand up, because in guaranteed the people that are asking for you to do it for free are the people that would be getting paid. That's true. Remember one lad, he was at a community theatre he used to work in. And I remember this day, it was wonderful. I was doing the lighting, but this woman came in and he was doing the show. He directed the show. He's actually very, very good. He was extremely good, young man. And I was sitting in the room and this woman came in who was doing another project. Oh, that was wonderful, that show. I mean, I didn't get it. Your lights were wonderful. Kiss your ass on it. And I got nothing. She just blanked me. And when I think of it, out of the two of us, I was the most experienced one in the room. Anyway, so she's going on. She said, oh, we're doing it. Would you like to do some work for us? And he turned around and he said, oh, you'll have to have a word with the director because you're taking my time from him. This is getting on my nerves, I think. There we go. Oh, that's made it worse. Wait a minute. That's going to start bugging me. Oh, wait. What's going on? What's going on? Oh, no. I'm not liking this, people. It's going to start kicking me autism off. Wait a minute. I can't handle it. It's going to kick me off. It's starting tripping. Not tripping, triggering me. Oh, that's made it worse. That's better. That's better. No, that would have started triggering me off. Anything like that, I can't stand. Yeah. Isn't that silly? That's what I'm like, though. Certain things, that's how they discovered that I had high functioning autism. Certain things would trigger me off. And it must be because, say, I was in the theatre, lighting and everything. I like the way the chair is, and that's not right, is it? There we go. That's it. That's it. Everything like that's got to be pinpoint perfect. But sorry about that, people. You just seen me having one of me triggering moments. Can't handle it. See, I'll have to keep back. If I draw the table towards myself, I don't want it because it might fall down. Here we are. Right, so I'll just sit here when I have to move forward. Anyway, right, no one wants to come on and talk. So what I'll do is I'll get on with the quiz and I'll not look at the screen because I can see every time I move, I'm getting that light back on. So let's do quiz. Hey, well, put T-Gun's thing up as well. A link to her channel as well. I've got it now. So we ready for question. Oh, we're discussing all sorts, Victorian lady. All sorts, but we're on the quiz now. But if anyone wants to come on at any point and have a talk, we can do. Here we are. Question number 1. Which English monarch was famously supposed to have said, I have a wash once a month, whether I need it or no? So which famous English monarch? Well, yeah, it would be English. There was no Britain then, was there? Or UK? Oh, it's been done, Julius. So, which British monarch said, I have a bath once a month, whether I need it or no? Yes, Tony's got it. Elizabeth I. Allegedly said it. But what it was back then, they didn't wash the bodies, but they were constantly washing the clothes. Because for some reason, they didn't think it was healthy to wash your body. But the clothes, they were constantly. So this idea that they stank wasn't true. They didn't. Because, as I say, they were constantly washing the clothes. Here we are. What did, if you don't get this, shame on you, Jockney, if you don't get this. What did the Romans call London? What was the name they gave to London? I'm trying not to say London. That's it. T-Gun's got it. Londonium. That's what London was originally called. Londonium. Now this is the one that Julie and Cindy can't talk about because I mentioned this fella. Amazing man. What profession did the flamboyant, gorgeous George have in the 40s? What was his job? Gorgeous George, he was known as. Extremely flamboyant and extremely unique for his time. Very unique for his time. But what job did he do? Gorgeous George. So here we go, people. Gorgeous George, what was his job? Nope. No shoemaker. Banana straightener. Nope. Here we are. If people want me to help, extreme. Oh, he was amazing. I'll talk about a little bit about it. Here we are. That's it, Sean. Sean's got it. He was a wrestler. Now, what it is about Gorgeous George, and I don't forget this is the 40s. Gorgeous George used to come on. Now, this was the 40s. He had his hair bleached blonde and waved like a woman would get her hair waved. And he'd come on in these elaborate, you know the way wrestlers wear gowns and robes, he'd come on with them looking like a ball gown. I mean, I'm talking about sparkles, glitters, chintz, the lot. Oh, he was totally out with it. Straight as they come, there was nothing gay about him. Straight as they come, but he realised what he did, he totally changed entertainment, and it can't be underestimated the massive change he made. This, I say, was in the 40s, and this was a man, a wrestler, a proper wrestler coming out. All camp going on about how gorgeous he was, and he better not, his opponent better not destroy his curls and his hair or his wave in his hair with these really, they look like ball gowns, some of these robes he came out with. And people loved him in America. They thought, oh, this was amazing. They absolutely adored him, couldn't get enough of him. Well, he led on to Liberace. And when you see Gorgeous George, you can see where Liberace got his figure from, got his inspiration from. Because Liberace would be all, I mean, a hell of a lot more colourful, actually, Liberace was. But Gorgeous George, only for him, that would never have happened. And when you think at the time it was, you'd think they would have been horrified back then to it. They loved it, they couldn't get enough of it. And it also inspired all future wrestlers because of his attitude. His attitude was also Muhammad Ali said he saw Gorgeous George, and he said then he realised he had to have a big personality. Now, of course, Muhammad Ali didn't wear the spectacular robes and all that, but he got the attitude. He realised if you had a big, massive attitude like Gorgeous George, that was it, you'd be famous and noticed. But I can't stress enough how Gorgeous George, a wrestler, fully straight, by being totally effeminate, was the one that totally changed entertainment. Totally changed. No one had ever seen anything like that before. And he only did that because he realised wrestling was considered boring. Even his wife, they reckon his wife had to say it as well, because they wouldn't make the money they needed from wrestling. So they concocted this idea. And you'll actually see film of him, very old film of him, if you put in Gorgeous George. Old film, getting his hair done. He's saying, this, I say the 40s, sitting in the hairdressers, getting his hair waved. And coming out with these beautiful ball gowns and getting fitted for his robes. Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing. So let's get on with the quiz. I love people that are so brave that... What was that? Oh, yeah, I will look at Pollyannas. I think I've seen your stuff before, Pollyanna. Right, now, so there we are. Liberace, say he inspired others. Well, it's an easy one. What was Linda Blair's most famous film? Yeah, Julie. So, what was Linda Blair's famous film? The Exorcist, yeah. The Exorcist. Prolapse has got it. The Exorcist. And Sealers as well. And here's an interesting bit. I actually never met Linda Blair, who I'd love to meet. I've got a tweet, buzzed a tweet. No, we got a message on Facebook of her once. Very short message. But the person who I did meet years ago when I was visiting America was a woman called Mercedes McCambridge. And here's another question. I haven't got this written down. What is Mercedes McCambridge? What was she famous for in The Exorcist? What role did she have in The Exorcist? Mercedes McCambridge. Very odd woman. Very difficult to talk to. Well, not difficult to talk to, just she was odd. I found her odd. So, extra one, what role did Mercedes McCambridge have in The Exorcist? I don't think anyone knows, do they? The answer is she was the voice of the demon. It was her voice. And so she was on the show, you mother sucks cocks and all that business. That was her. And when I met her, she had been a really bad drunk all her life, but I'm not even going to go into it here. She suffered her family suffered one absolute horrible event. How she ever recovered from that, I don't know. Horrendous, absolutely horrendous. But you could tell she'd been through a lot in her life, hell of a lot. So now, let's see. Oh yeah, who wrote The Exorcist, the book? Anyone know that? So who wrote the book The Exorcist? Oh. Jackie, have you tried googling that? No, it's not a three-name person. William Blatty, yeah. William Blatty wrote The Exorcist, and it was inspired by a real story. Well, to say true, the Matt Rainier boy, it was called. But then this is about the modern age. You've got amazing people on YouTube that can find things out on social media. This young man looked into it, realised it wasn't Mount Rainier, it was nearby, and he found the actual house, which it was supposed to happen to this boy, that they called Robbie, and they actually, he discovered who he was, and he actually worked for NASA. And his identity was released after he died. I can't remember what his name is, but you'll see it on YouTube. His identity, he was 14, it was a 14-year-old boy, not a girl. But he found out, fascinating, where the real house was, worked out where it was. And once he worked out that, he just had to ask the locals if they remembered a kid. And then the real story started coming out, and they were saying, no, they said, this was nothing to do with possession. They said he was just what you called a disturbed kid nowadays. They said he was and he said that himself. He lived to be a very old man, hid his identity. No one found out until, well, it wasn't released until after he was dead who it was. And even he said no, he said he just did it to wind his family up. He said there was no possession there, he wasn't possessed. And it shows you how careful you have to be when priests and other people, even priests, say that something's authentic. And I remember one of the fellas who remembers as a kid, the shaken bed. You'll hear in the reports of The Exorcist with him that the bed would shake and the mattress would undulate under him. And this Al fella, who remember, said, look, he said, in those days we had metal beds, he said, on wheels. He said it didn't take much to make them jigger backwards and forwards. He said that was easily done. But he said it was just a foot. So go show you can't take everything that this say is being fact. Now, here we are, a religious one for you, all you religious people out there, Bible fans. What was the name of Moses' sister? Moses had a sister. What was her name? And think of a tambourine. Tambourine. No. And there we are. Take on Miriam. That was Moses' sister's name. Do you know, I'm going to check this one because I wrote this down. I'm not sure whether I'm right or not. I'm going to check it. Yeah, I'm right. I'm right. Just thought I'd double check that. What does another religious one? What does Christ mean? What does the word actually mean? Because of course his surname wasn't Christ. And I've known people to actually think that. His surname was, no, that wasn't his surname, that was his title. What does Christ actually mean in Greek? No, it doesn't mean Christian. Don't forget, Jesus wasn't a Christian. There was no such thing until 200 years after, 100 or 200 years after he died. There was no such thing as a Christian. The anointed one. Yeah, it's got that. The anointed one. There we are. This is a bit of a dark one. This is a bit of a disturbing one. What does the Japanese term mabiki refer to? Mabiki. And I wouldn't say that to Japanese people because I don't think they really like being reminded of it. Mabiki. What does mabiki refer to that the Japanese used to do in the past? Oh, my beaky. I just got it now. What you mean, Teagle? Oh, yeah, you got you got that. My beaky. My beaky. I hope I pronounced that right as well. I'm sure it's my beaky. Nope. Nope. Not what you said, Riles. I can't actually say that. Yep. I'll tell you, it's not very nice. It's not very nice. I think it meant it was a term that came from farming, and it was clearing the way, something like that, clearing away the stuff. And what they used to do, see, harsh times, harsh ways. When a woman gave birth to a baby, the family could decide whether to get rid of the baby there and then, if they wanted the baby or not, because you weren't considered human or fully human below the age of 7. So a child below the age of 7 was halfway between, sort of hovering between Earth and the other side, the other life. So they were both a spirit and working towards being a full human, but until they were 7, they weren't a human. So you could do away with them and send them back to the spirit world, and that wasn't a bad thing, apparently, if you didn't want to keep the child. So not a very nice thing that they used to do. And the whole village could say, oh, get rid of that kid. It wasn't just the parent that made the decision. The village could make the decision. Right, next one. Which Roman Caesar conquered Britain? Which Roman Caesar was the first to eventually conquer Britain? Because they had quite a hard time of it, the Romans, getting to Britain. No, not Hadrian. He was the one that, not Julius, he was the one that no one would have thought he'd be the one to do it, because he wasn't considered a great general or anything. I'll give you the answer. No, not Augustus. It was Caligula, not Caligula, it was Claudius. I got mixed up because Caligula came before Claudius, didn't he? Yeah, Claudius. The one that had the stutter, which just shows you was considered a stuttering old fool, simple-minded fool. And he was the one that conquered Britain, and he worked out that the way to do it was, because see what happened, everyone used to go legging it to what we'd call Wales then. Of course, Wales didn't exist as Wales then, but the true ancient Britons, they always said, were the Welsh, and they were the most determined not to be conquered. So he worked out if he could get control of the Welsh, or what we call the Welsh now, then he'd have something. So what they did, they got a load of elephants, which of course ancient Britons had never seen before, shipped them over. And then he worked out that they had this, I don't know, spirit thing that they were terrified of, a bird that was represented by a bird. And what he did was he got a stilt walker, which they'd never seen, a stilt walker, and got him to dress up as a bird. Terrified the life out of him. And once he got control of the Welsh, that was it. He knew he had the control of Britain. The rest would go. And that's how it all happened. That's the way it went down. Now, next one. In which Shakespeare play does Titania and Oberon appear? Titania and Oberon, which play? That's it. Prolapse, Midsummer Night's Dream. And what were Titania and Oberon? What kind of? Yep, that's right. Put you on a Midsummer Night's Dream. So what were they? That's right, fairies. Oberon was the king of the fairies, and Titania was, or Titania, some people say, was the queen of the fairies. And fairies back then, if you read it, weren't the pretty things that the Victorians dreamt up. They were considered very, very dangerous to be avoided. And when you read the Midsummer Night's Dream, you hear it, they're talking about storms and everything. I mean, these are creatures that they believed could cause storms to break out and cause famines. They could destroy crops if they felt like it. So they were actually very frightening creatures. They were little winged things that you'd go try to seek out. You'd avoid them by all costs. Here we are. The shark, mechanical shark in Jaws had a name. What was his name? What's the name of the shark in Jaws? Oh, I like the next one. No, I will, Cindy. Bruce. Yeah, his name was Bruce. And last one. This is a good one. What is the traditional? Now, listen to how I'm saying this, right? The words are important. What is the traditional colour of Ireland? What colour represents Ireland, the traditional colour? The traditional colour, no, Julie's, that's modern. And if you actually look at the Irish Guard, here we are, Andrea Roswell, that's right, blue. If you actually look at the Irish Guard, you'll see they have blue feathers on the cap. It was always blue, but for some reason it changed to green. I don't know why it changed to green, but it was always traditionally blue. So, so that's why you see the soldiers, they'll usually have the blue. And then actually green, and this is the strange thing, is unlucky in Ireland. It's an unlucky. You're not supposed to wear green in Ireland. It's supposed to be unlucky. And I nearly died because when good God, when I was my mother was getting prepared for burial, I had a robe made for her because the thing they were going to put in, I said, "Oh Christ!" I said, "My mother's not going to be buried in that shit." They said that is the most horrible. It was like a nightie with a frilly, lacy bit here. Oh, it's horrendous. And I said, "She's not getting buried in that." So I had a robe made for her. And it wasn't until after buried that I thought, "Oh my God, that robe!" It was in antique linen, beautiful, antique pleated linen, beautiful. You'd have to see it, gorgeous pleats they have in it, and it was stunning. Anyway, after it was a few months after, I thought, "Oh my God!" I thought it was green and white. I thought, "I'm sure you, Irish woman isn't supposed to wear green." So I was like, "Oh, I buried my mum in an unlucky colour according to a country's tradition, but couldn't do any bad then. This sun's getting on my nerves." So that's the end of the quiz, and I'll put this out if anyone wants to come on for a quick talk, but I'll be winding up soon because it's nearly an hour. Yeah, that's it. It was new. I'm pretty sure green is considered unlucky. It's like, do you remember the peacock feathers as well? That was another one. Oh, you should never have peacock feathers in the house. Oh, unlucky. Masks are another one. Now, I have peacock feathers because they're gorgeous. I adore them. But the other one was masks. Now, I won't have a mask in the house because of that. On the wall. No way. Yeah, peacock feathers, they were always. And you know another one, has anyone heard this? Hedges or privets, when they get those white flowers on them and they stink, they're not very nice smell, or they get those little white flowers. They look like small lilac flowers. Don't bring them in the house. And then I found out why they're supposed to have a smell of death on them, a slight smell of death or something. That's why you don't bring them in. Old traditions, eh? Old traditions. Oh, Cindy, I'd love a peacock. Do you know, I'll tell you something weird. Because they are stunned. The males, anyway, the females are boring, aren't they? The poor little peahens, there's nothing to them. Dowdy things, but the males are like with this huge, gorgeous tails. Now, I was in a city, the middle of a city, and I swear down when I was young, I saw a bleeding peacock walking down the street and I was gobsmacked. It was early in the morning and I was like, I'm not seeing this. And there was a full tail, it didn't have its tail fan, but I could see its tail behind it, walking down the bleeding street. But they are the only thing about them is the shrill they make. They've got a horrible cry, haven't they? That they make, and that's where we get the Juno and the peacock, where the peacock is complaining, it hears a nightingale singing, and it's looking at the nightingale thinking, why is that boring little nothing got that voice when I've got a horrible screech which a peacock has? So he complains to the goddess Juno and says, why haven't I got a beautiful voice? Because I'm a beautiful bird. So Juno kicks off and says how ungrateful that bird, how ungrateful the peacock is, and she'll cut his tail off if he dares complains again. And the moral of the story is, be thankful for what you've got, not for what you see others have. Yeah, they have the cry of a peacock isn't very pleasant, isn't very pleasant, but they're the most stunning looking birds. Beautiful. I don't think there is a bird more beautiful. I mean, I know there are birds of paradise which are gorgeous, but the peacock just goes beyond everything, doesn't it? It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Now, no one wants to jump on. I think what I'll do next, I'll do another gossipy one, because I want to keep this up and I'll make them regular and do one. So I won't do one tomorrow. I'll do it the day after. Keep them regular so people know they're happening. Yeah, that's it. You can just pick up the feathers, can't you, off the ground? But you know what the thing is, when you get a white one, a white peacock, and they look gorgeous, don't they? They're not as nice as the green and blue ones. But when they put the fans out, when you pick up their feathers and you actually take them and you look at them, they look khaki. They don't even look, on the bird they look white, but actually when you hold them up, they're a really boring, dull beige colour. Oh God, no, I can't. Right, I can't, because I'm donating to Paul Elsa's trip with Big Tony. Oh, they need a holiday. Oh, God love them. They need a holiday. Oh, you've got a Paris. See, I wouldn't. There's nothing I got from Mama. She wouldn't have a bird in a cage. She didn't like that at all. This summer starting again. She couldn't stand birds being caged. She used to think it was cruel. So I've never had a bird in a cage. But I do like parrots. Are lovely. I wouldn't have a cockatiel though. How anyone can get one of those birds? They're mental. They are totally bonkers on. I mean, they are the supreme ADHD of the bird world. They're just full on, aren't they? Full on, won't shut up, squawk, screech, scream. I would have liked a minor bird. I think they're gorgeous minor birds, but apparently not all of them do learn to talk. You have to get them at a certain age. But the great thing about minor birds is that they'll actually they take on the accent and the sound of the person. They don't just know how that. They'll actually sound like the person talking. that they're copying. But as I say, not every one of them learns to talk. So you could get one, and they're not cheap. Bear in mind, the birds, the bleeding thing never say a word. He's just saying hello. Starling's another one that can talk. I was amazed when I heard that Starlings can learn to talk. They can make beautiful sounds. Starlings, absolutely gorgeous. We have loads of them around where I am, but at this time of year when they start kicking off, it's absolutely beautiful. But yeah, parrots, they are nice, but they're also very, very intelligent as well. And if they don't like someone, they don't like them, do they? Don't like them at all. Yeah, that's it. My mum wooden house. She said, I'm not having the bird in a cage. She used to think it was cruel to keep a. She said they should be flying around. And she reckoned that's why cockatiels and all that were mental, because she'd say they can't fly around like they do in the wild. Yet they do. Some of them they get very possessive. Some breeds of parrots, very, very possessive. Anyway, so no one's jumping on. So what I'll do is I'll leave, and not tomorrow, the day after. Can't even remember what day is it today. Is it Monday, Tuesday, or what day is it today? Well, it's a quiz question for you. What day is it today? Is it Monday or Tuesday? I can't remember. This is what happens when you get old. This is when you get old. Oh, magpies now. Say something quick about them. I love them. I adore magpies, and they're another one they can teach to talk. But they are so intelligent, it's unbelievable. Highly intelligent birds. I remember one once got in the house. I didn't know. I'm just in my bedroom with my dog, little Bonzo, when he was still here. And I heard something in what I have is a spare bedroom. I could hear something's going on. What's going on there? So he got up. Oh, he's a great little hunter, was Bonzo, great little hunter. And he went into the room, and I could hear it coming from the cupboard door was a bit open. There's a bleeding magpie jumps out. And of course, made sure Bonzo couldn't get out, because Bonzo, if he got hold of anything, there's something about him, he'd just snap its neck. He was a little terrier, he had terrier in him, and he might say like that, or birds, if he got hold of them, that's it, he'd have the next broken. So anyway, it flew into the bathroom, and I just opened the window and did that to say to it, that's your escape, and it flew out. But my neighbour told me it moved into a shed. I said, I can't go near me bleeding shed now. And she said, you know how cheeky it is? Apparently, when she'd be outside in the summer, having a few drinks or a few friends around, the bleeding bird would start kicking off because of the noise. It didn't like the noise going on around. But they are wonderful animals. Magpies. Love them. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wind her up now, and I'll be back. Did anyone? Oh yeah, Wednesday. It's not Wednesday today, is it? Is it? This I don't know what bleeding day is. Let's see what this says. Good God, it is. I thought it was. See, this is what happens. You've all got this to look forward to, you know. You've all got this to look forward to as you get older. Your brain starts bleeding going on. So it'll be Friday. God, I didn't know it was Wednesday. I didn't spit then. I think I spat a bit then, didn't I? Seen something flying out my mouth. Anyway, so it will be Friday, 7 o'clock. Be back on. And if anyone wants to come on, you'll have to come on, Jockey. Or anyone wants to come on, let me know and come on. And you know what's like here? There's no battles, there's no cursing, there's nothing horrible going on. So thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Jalise. Thank you, Kelsey. And to everyone else in the chat, thank you for joining me. And until Friday, 7 o'clock, bye-bye, me lovelies. Bye-bye.